What's going on, YouTube? Back here again in Miami, Florida. Why are you looking at me? So be looking at the camera, John. John, look at the camera.
I like
All right,
you.
John, look at the camera.
Okay.
All right, here we go. So we're back here in South Florida, Miami. Gonna have a great range day today. I got John Lovell from Warrior Port Society. I got Diego De Vera from KO Zone. I got Ruben Alvarez from Ruben BJJ, Black Belt Brazilian, Black Belt Badass Certified, and I got Evan. I don't know what the fuck you are, Evan. It doesn't really matter.
Last name.
Bottom line is, today we're gonna be doing some cool stuff, some cool drills for you. We're gonna be debating on a lot of topics, me and John, whether the Army's good, bad, great, compared to SWAT, good, bad, great. We're both garbage, we're both great. But we're gonna be debating a lot of subjects that you guys wanna hear about. What is absolutes, what are not absolutes, and shoot a little bit. So stay tuned. I just wanted a few points, okay? A couple debatable subjects that differ from person to person. And as we're both experienced people that have been doing this a little bit of time, he comes from that military background. I have some military background, and I come from mainly an LE background, okay? So one of the biggest things that I get a lot of questions for is what's the best sling to run, or what is the best way to run a sling? So you have a 1-point sling, 2-point sling, however you want to run it. So first I'm gonna say what I run, okay, and then he'll say what he runs, the reasons why he runs it, and I'll just explain the reasons why I run it. So I predominantly most of the time run a 1-point sling. The main reason that I run a 1-point sling is because I had to do a lot of hands-on in LE, a lot of hands-on stuff. So with a 2-point sling, what I came to find out was the rifle was in front of me too much, where it was very hard for me to put it behind me on a subject that I had to attack or that I had to get on very quickly, efficiently. So that's point one for me. And point two, when you're switching shoulders, if you ever are, but I never switch shoulders, very rarely do I ever switch shoulders, but if you needed to switch shoulders or whatever, you can switch shoulders with a 1-point sling without having to come under and take your arm out from under it and having to take an extra step, okay? Now, I've seen guys like my buddy Rich Graham, which does the extra step so fast that it doesn't really even matter what he fucking runs, because he's been doing it for 20 years. So I want to debate this subject mainly just because I want to let people know that neither of them are wrong. There's preferences and there's reasons why every guy runs what they run, and depending on what their job description is or what your mission is, it's going to determine on what you do, okay? You're always going to have the guys that are the absolutes, and I don't believe in absolutes. I'm a thousand ways to skin a cat kind of guy. So it's what I run in, and I want to know, John, I think you run a 2-point, correct? Mm-hmm. So I want you to explain to them why you run a 2-point, what are your reasons behind running a 2-point, and how it's more effective for you and for what you do and all this stuff.
Everything you do, you get something and you give something up. So there is going to be some absolute weaknesses for single points. There'll be some for 2 points as well. The only where that's not true is a 3-point sling. Let's just say that's a webbing disaster.
Yeah, yes.
You should not wear it. So there's an
I agree
absolute.
with you there.
No 3
no
points.
3-point.
There's an absolute.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
that I agree 100%.
Let's see. 2-point. One thing is you mentioned having to go hands-on a little bit. If you're in an LE context, your rules of engagement and how you have to handle those people are way different, and what you can get over. What you can get away with in the handling of terrorists overseas with night vision on is different than how you have to treat someone who may or may not be innocent and will be proven so in a court of law. So you have some differences there. And so I don't have to be as physical with them. All negotiation is done at the end of a gun for me. So cover contact officer, it's just not quite as high risk for the soldier going hands-on. I like a 2-point for a bunch of different reasons, but as you see it slung, you'll see the gun is way up here, right in the pocket of my shoulder. So if you observe, this is where it's chilling. And also, because of where it's put, my rifle is away from my legs. Now, if this buttstock is instead way down here, kind of like a single point, we'll oftentimes have it way low, and the rifle will go into your knees. So when you walk, it hits you in the knees, it's hitting you in the junk. That's no fun at all. And so it kind of defeats a little bit of the point of the sling, right? And now if I need to get my gun up, now I have to bring my whole gun up and then find that good platform. Whereas in a good 2-point sling, my rest is right here in the pocket. So look, one arm, check it out. I'm already in the pocket of my shoulder. It's like idiot proof. I can immediately, so it's gonna be blazing quick and it keeps it away from my legs so I can walk. Now, part of a point of a 2-point sling is if I'm all cinched down like this, that means I'm not really expecting contact. I can still come out and shoot, but I don't want to fight like that. Immediately after that initial kind of like, whoa, crap, pop, 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 you swim out of your sling. And now, once you've done that swim out of your sling, I'm good to do my rifle transitions seamlessly, smooth, easy peasy. If I'm walking from I go from more of a permissive to a non-permissive environment, and I'm kind of like all cinched down, being like not really expecting stuff, I can work with my hands, and you can see I can walk. It's not hitting me in the legs at all, and this is really good. And when I have body armor, it works even better because now it's out here. Single point slings for me shine the best when you have body armor, because now you have your body armor, correct, which holds it out, so it's not banging me in the legs. So I like single points more when it's tighter up and it's on body armor. But without body armor, man, for me, it just sucks, right? There's some other stuff, and then it just becomes techniques of how you can basically ditch this gun, whether you're coming over here like this to the bed, or you're just basically ditching it. And what I'll do is pin with this tricep, and now I can freaking sprint, and the gun's way out of the way, and I can go hands on. And so there's techniques to get around a lot of weaknesses. And so I just point those out, but I want to kind of throw the ball back over to you and just see what you have to say, and we'll have a conversation.
So all the techniques. So it's one of the biggest things that I spoke about is pretty much this coming in and out. It's an extra step that you do. Now, in any kind of close quarter, anything you do close quarters, if you have to go hands on, one step could be the one step that kills you. Okay, so for me, so you understand, I don't even have it right now set up for no plate carrier, but when I usually have my sling, and it's one point, it's here to my right. So when I walk around with it, I just walk around like this, and it doesn't bother me, doesn't do anything to me whatsoever. Okay, so from here, it's as simple as the same thing that he says here. From right here, it's just right to the top. Okay, if I want to go to my left shoulder, do whatever I want to do, or however I want to do it, I don't have to worry about undoing my arm or redoing my arm and all that stuff. Okay, same time, something happens to where I do, if I'm coming in or something and I have contact, physical contact, I can't, use my muzzle or kill a guy, like a terrorist, like it's a regular person, or even if it is an armed robbery guy, but the guy's not armed. Okay, I automatically go from here straight across to the backside of I don't have to worry about this anymore. So at that point, I just go hands on the guy, drop down to the guy, and then he at no point can reach my gun and go for the gun. Okay, so it's that. So when I wear a plate carrier, it feels better. Also, if you're a bigger guy like me,
And me.
Well, what I was gonna say was, if you have a man chest and shoulders and back, like real men, then a 1 point is great because it sits naturally. See, if you're weak, 150 pounds, soaking wet, and it rides down here like this because you walk around like this.
I'm heavier when I have stuff in my pocket.
Yeah, that's it. So that's a problem too. So that's another reason why 1 point sling for big dudes works a lot better. Now, even if it isn't off to a right, and here it's pretty much centered. Now he's correct. I'll give him this one thing. If you do leave it hanging, eating shit, and you're walking, it will hang and it will pretty much bang on your legs. You see that? Okay, now with a plate carrier, it won't do that. With a plate carrier, it'll sit pretty much on here like that. So that, for him, on a 2 point will be a lot better. See that?
And I can walk, I can move,
yeah, no issues.
I can do work,
yeah, I can do all kinds of stuff. Now he can also move it to the back, all right, to the back where he was. You just have to do that thing and then just rip it back.
Swim out is like, so right now we're chilling and I could come up.
Yeah.
But the moment I have any inkling, I'm like, it's quiet, almost. too quiet. And like all of a sudden I get some breathing room. But if I think I'm like getting it on, I just go ahead and swim out. This is for holding the gun, and the point of the sling is to hold the gun so you don't have to.
Absolutely.
And when I think I'm fighting, I only fight like this. This is how I fight. So there goes to my point. All the years he's trained in it, all the years he's done it, it's natural movement for him. It's efficient. It's non-muscle memory, non-thinking repetitions. So he does everything naturally, right? Someone who's never has to build that. They have to understand to do that. They have to become good at it. And how do you do that? By reps. But you do it, reps. Strengths and weaknesses with all of it, and you got to have train around.
Exactly.
Some folks will be like, well, what gear solution can I get so I don't have to train? I'm like, dude, quit sandbagging, bro. There is none.
You got to do the reps, So that was one thing that I want to talk about. It was great. Both sides, you heard 2 point, the pros and cons, and you heard the 1 point pros and cons, okay? So now, let's talk about, he wears, as you can see here, he wears a war belt, okay? What's called a war belt.
Because I like to party.
All right, so if you turn around, he wears a lot of stuff here, he has stuff here, stuff here, and then he's got his mag. Now notice how he has his mag. He has his mag facing backwards, right? Then you have the same as always, two pistol. He's got some gloves here, got a knife over here, and then he's got his sidearm, right? So now, me, I've never worn a war belt. I've always worn a regular duty belt. And so the main reason I've learned over the years as a Lely, I don't wear anything on my back. So back here, so as he sees this right here.
Yeah, you gotta sit in the car all day.
Yeah, that's one, yeah. So here, all that stuff, if you're in a car or you're doing a lot of operations on cars, where meaning I'm doing surveillances, car chases, all these different type of things, that is gonna have you sitting like this. So I would have to literally sit this way, and a lot of the cars that you use in LE have cages. So if they have a cage, you're literally gonna have no room. Now, when we did ops, so you guys understand, when you do different things, you have your rifle on you sometimes or off to your right, depending on if you're about to hit house, whatever it is. Now, rifle here with the steering wheel right here, because I have to move forward, not very conducive, okay? Now, granted, I'm a bigger guy too. That didn't help either.
Yeah,
right?
Us big guys, we got to do that.
So that's number one. Number two, in a fighting confrontation, okay, I get thrown to the ground and I land on my back, okay? You just herniated L4, you just herniated L5. Why? Because when you landed, because of the stuff you have in your back, now your back, instead of landing rolling like you're supposed to, break your fall and roll into it, you can't break your fall, and your back hyperextends upward because of the stuff that you have back there, okay? Now, in his line of work, or in the military, the chances of that happening aren't as at 1 percentile of a 1% where you can actually get on your back or whatever during a thing, you know what I mean?
Reactionary gaps inside military context are different than that of civilian and law enforcement.
Correct.
Meaning the average gunfight for a civilian or law enforcement officer is 7 yards and in.
Yes.
And that's not even close to true for a soldier. Yeah. How do you get close to the soldier? Of kind of like, you can't get close to a soldier. You'll always be close to no soldiers or a lot of soldiers. And so for someone to go hands-on, of like the moment you grab my gun, my buddy kills you. It's kind of like, it's done. So anyway, and some SWAT context as well. Anyway, without a real context, I don't really know how to dress, so to speak. Because I mean, like, this problem in the car as well, or a fall, is completely gone if I put body armor on. Because now it's actually from here all the way up. It's flat. Yeah. And it's good to go. And
it should be good, yeah.
Sitting in a vehicle sucks for you, but I can kind of sit back a little bit more. So it's nicer when you wear body armor and a war belt. If I'm doing long patrol operations, I'm up and down mountains. I'm ditching body armor and I'm ditching this too. What good does a pistol do in long range environments? None. It's just chafing on legs. And if I have to wear it, I'm gonna be hiking like this. I'm gonna be ditching all this crap. This will go in a backpack. Yeah. And I got a rifle and a ranger rack, and that's about all I want. Yeah. You try to go up and down mountains doing kind of like long range patrol stuff, dude, you're toast. Yeah. So I mean, some people will just be like, well, this is the best setup, and I'm like, best setup for what? I'm a civilian, so most of the time, and a lot of times when we were out here running drills earlier, I was running concealed holster because that's my main contest. I'm carrying concealed with an ankle medical kit around my ankle, a flashlight in my pocket. That's my loadout, and so that's my context. And so as soon as I start adding war belts and my body armor set up and whatnot, I'm starting to imagine context, or I'm Ranger rack. And so without a context.
At the end of the day, I mean, worst case scenario, you're talking about, okay, we just recently had a pandemic, right? Let's just talk about that. And it gets worse. Let's just say it's not a pandemic, it just becomes the apocalypse. All of a sudden, we become Venezuela from one day to the next for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So you're gonna have to prepare yourself for whatever happens in whatever environment you are, whether it's urban, this or that, or whatever. You know, so you have to, in that sense, what is gonna work for you. Okay, there is no absolute in that sense. So what he's wearing is nothing wrong what he's wearing. What I'm wearing is nothing wrong what I'm wearing. I'm wearing based off what I did for this many years. He's wearing based off what he did for so many years. So when you come to the conclusion, let's talk about the magazine real quick. Let's talk about the
so
snag.
You know, typically I wasn't wearing a war belt kind of stuff. I was Ranger rack or body armor, usually. Okay. And you want as little on your legs as possible.
As possible. Yeah.
Of like there's a saying, an ounce on your legs is a pound on your back. Meaning you could put one thing in your pocket or 16 of the same size things on your back. 1 ounce, one pound. Anyway.
They lost you all the way on that.
You can carry an ounce on your legs or a pound on your back. It's the same amount of exhaustion.
It's the same amount of thing. So as you see, he runs his magazine facing backwards. I run my magazine facing forward. Okay, there was I had come to some couple years back, or was like, well, this is the only way and the right way to do it. Now,
you can do it differently. You're just gonna be wrong.
There you go. That's what it is right there. You can do it differently. You're just going to be wrong. All right. As you can see, I'm not the smallest guy there is. As you can see, he's probably the smallest guy there is. So at that point right there, okay, his range of motion to turn his body and to do this is a lot easier and very quickly. See how easy he does that. He just grabs it and goes.
Good to go.
Yes, quick. So for me, because, okay, I have lats and I have triceps and I have traps. Okay, it's harder for me to go back there and grab it. So what I end up doing, instead of running it backwards, I run it forward. So all I have to do is just from right here and then like that. Okay, it's easier for me. Now, could I run it that way? Yes, I could. I would just have to understand that I'm gonna have to really come back and force myself to go back there and grab it. And then grabbing wouldn't be the hard part. It's actually pulling it up and then turning around to do it. So, and the main reason I say this, guys, is just because there's people that are made different in different sizes, different weights, different mobilities, different flexibilities. You may have a bad shoulder. You may have something, an injury or something like that, you know, where you can't do this stuff. And then some instructor sits there and tells you, oh, but you have to do it that way. That's the way you have to do it. And it's not the way that you have to do it. It's the way that makes you feel the most comfortable, or I should say the most efficient movement for you as a human. What is going to be the fastest and quickest way that you're going to get that magazine into that rifle, period, right? Regardless of how you're going to reload it, as long as you're not going to do this and strain your neck in the process of doing it, and it's still quick and efficient, you're good to go. You know, I had another kid one time in one of my courses. He had been to a class before where he didn't index the mag, where he went like this. You know, he didn't do it in the class, and he got reamed at for 15 minutes. So in my course, you know, he was really adamant about indexing, and I go, okay, that's great, that's good that you're indexing. But the problem is that every single time that he would engage and he would have a reload, he would like, okay, all right, I got it, all right, okay, all right, okay, all right, and he would do this, right? And it would take him like 10 minutes to do one reload because he was so traumatized about the other instructor had screamed at him for 15 minutes, you know. So I got to the point where I told the kid, I was like, listen, I honestly, I don't care how you put the magazine in the gun. I don't care how you grab the magazine. I don't care how you do it. Just, we need to be a little bit faster at getting that magazine into the gun. You get me? Sometimes you're gonna sacrifice a little bit here and a little bit there, you know. In a situation like that, obviously it's yes, you want to do this, right? You want to. That's your ultimate goal. But is that going to happen every single time? No, it's not. You may be behind a car, you may be behind a wall, maybe you fell down on the floor, maybe you're lying on top of it, and you can only grab it this way. Who knows? The bottom line is don't stick yourself always to only just one way. What do you feel about, how you feel about that?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, don't traumatize students is the better thing.
Yeah.
The real big idea is you just want the straight line from elbow all the way through. So some people are focused on indexing, but they're like this, and I'm like, that's not a straight line, and neither is this.
Yeah,
and so I mean, it's really hold it up, look at the magwell as well. I think we're clear. Hold on, let me up. Straight line. That's all you have to do. See the straight line? Get a straight line. You can do it. Practice. And then, if you have a dirtbag instructor that screams at someone before they have time to complete the learning process. You don't add stress when somebody's still trying to learn how to do the technique.
Correct, yeah.
Now you're just an idiot meathead that's scarring a student that didn't need that. Later, once they got it, now let's amp up the intensity, and that's good stress.
That's the way to do it, yeah.
But it's kind of like we were doing deadlifting yesterday. I was teaching Tony some stuff, and just between me and you, most of what he does is like CG stuff. It's not real. This guy sucks. No, but seriously, we were doing some deadlift stuff, and there was a technique where I wasn't like flexing like my lats and activating my lats, and a little bit of a bend in my elbows, and he's like, dude, you're gonna blow out your bicep. And I'm like, oh, and so I had to really focus on that and really slow down and do it right. And you gave me the time to do that.
Absolutely.
And you yelling at me would not have helped. It would have hurt, and it would have just proved that you had an ego and you were trying to be, anyway.
Yeah, safety first always. You always you don't want to get hurt. At the end of the day. So, and it's not worth because of people's egos or there's a time for everything. There's a time to scream at a kid because he's being a weak-minded individual, and there's a time to scream at a kid when he's trying to learn that you're not supposed to be screaming at him. Two different worlds. You should, if the kid is trying to learn and you see that he's struggling to learn, then stop and teach him. It's time to be a teacher. It's not time to be a person that's going to be in his face and yelling at him. Okay, once he's learned that he's got the fundamentals down, he's got everything down, and you're doing a drill to push him physically, mentally, then it's time to scream at him. Then it's just going to be the time to push him and try to get him to that next level. So you have to know, as an instructor, as a coach, you have to know how to turn that on and turn it off. Kind of, what I'm saying, like that. And of course, try to motivate, because that's really, really important too. And I'm not the type of guy that gives participation trophies. I don't believe in that either. But if you see a kid, he's fucking busting his ass, you know what I mean, and he's just not making it, then you kind of sometimes gotta like sit there, step back a second, and say, it's gonna be better for me to motivate this kid than to tear this kid down.
You gotta figure out what motivates people.
Everybody's a little bit different.
Of like, if it's a lot of times you're high character and highly individual driven people. I mean, you just give them that look, like if they feel like they failed you, it'll break them. I'm like, that's a self-correcting ship. Leave that dude alone, and he'll spool it up. And you add shame to it, you're just gonna end up losing a brother. Whereas other people, you gotta put kind of the wrath on them and fear and some intensity as well. They're not as much self-motivated. At the end of the day, everyone speaks pain.
There was an old there's an old saying that I like too. It's praise in public and how is it? Praise in public. You should know it. It was in a book. There's a quote.
See, books, man. That's my man.
It's called. It's pretty much saying praise in public and shame in private. So it's kind of like saying, when you see somebody do something good, let them know and let everybody know they're doing something good. When someone's doing something bad, pull them aside from everybody else. Don't make them look bad and tell them, hey, look, you're doing this bad. Fix this and this and this. No grown man that you're speaking to, a grown man wants to get screamed at by another grown man knowing that he's fucking up, or he's making a mistake, So you don't want to belittle him. Now you need to correct him in front of everybody, then you correct him, but you don't belittle the guy. You don't belittle him and make him feel, like you disrespected him or in some kind of way,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like call them 150 pounds and insinuate they don't have lats and all the hurtful things you say. Hey, go ahead and unsubscribe to this guy right now.
Those are facts.
Just kidding. Hit the subscription button. Hit like and share. Comment. Really helps this guy out a lot.
All right, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and do some drills for you. Just want to touch on a couple aspects of rifles. And quick question. Let me see your rifle real quick there. What kind of rifle do you run?
I run all kinds, and I'm always in a process of testing and evaluation.
Okay.
And then I have rifles for different contexts.
All right. Now,
so
I know me and you believe in the same exact thing here. Okay. A lot of guys think that they have to have a $4,000 rifle to shoot good. And they want to spend all this money. Okay. I think most of my rifles all of them are under $2,000, $1,500, $1,600. You guys know I'm a firm believer, and the human is the weapon, the mindset and the physical portion of it, and the tool. This is a tool, and it's an extension of your body. And John, I want you to touch on that a little bit. Just let them know that you don't need a high-end rifle to be just as good.
Yeah, you just don't. It is the Indian and not the arrow.
There you go.
Right, it is training-centric, and sometimes to underscore this point, as I'm running classes with students, I'll grab their stuff, I'll shoot their guns, and they'll watch me perform high level, on the spot, no excuses. It's really the person pulling the trigger. However, good gear and good guns, they can move hills, but never mountains, right? And so they have little advantages. Sometimes when we're trying to get from here to here, what we'll do is we'll rely on a gear upgrade to be able to make the jump instead of skill. And sometimes it actually works where you'll make a little bit of progress. But what happens now is it's almost like you've got a crutch and that skill never really develops. I see people do this all the time when they upgrade triggers too quickly before they really learn how their trigger curve even works. Where you prep, stop, hit the brakes, exhale through the mouth, and E, shot brakes, off and on, stop, E, and then they don't really understand how a trigger curve works, how to properly reset a trigger. And then they get this tiny little short trigger with a reset, and they never really let their trigger control develop. What I want you to do is get good, and then get the cool guy trigger in that order. And so I don't want to take it from you. I'm just saying, man,
wait a little bit longer and get a little bit better first.
Yeah. And so, man, I don't want to be the gear snob. Now, this is my profession, so I get all the goodies, but the point is you don't need them, right? And sometimes of like this is a Palmetto State lower, and it's fine. It runs just fine. And then this is kind of like, this is a hodgepodge disaster of really expensive stuff mixed with some really cheap stuff mixed with some middle grade. Not stuff, cheap as in not good, just inexpensive is the word.
Well, we run the same trigger.
Yeah, sure. Except this trigger. I have no idea what it is. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, we run the same trigger on this one. That's a BCM lower, right?
No, this is a full Lantac.
Oh, mine is the same. That's why we run it. Mine's Lantac too.
Yep.
I run the Lantac as well.
So pretty cool. So I've got a couple different contexts. Like I'd mentioned earlier, if I'm up and down mountains doing some longer range stuff, land navigation.
16-inch, or you run?
Yeah, I'll want a 16 or 14.5. I'll have a can on it. I'll have an IR laser and probably an LPVO, low power variable optic, something with some distance because I'm interested in seeing far and being able to do night vision stuff, and that's what I'm interested in generally.
Guys, I'm a big proponent of staying in your lane. Okay, me being on the teams, I never used night vision. We never used night vision, so we had it, we trained with it, but on ops and stuff like that, very rarely did we ever use any of that stuff. So I don't teach it, I don't push it, I don't. That's just me. Him on the other side, that's every op he did. Most of them were NVGs. So
not every, but hundreds.
Hundreds, yeah. So and a lot of the gear that he runs is going to be geared towards that, the NVGs. So mine isn't. Mine is just geared off the regular LE, tack light. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. So it just depends on what you're geared towards and what you want to learn. Now, we've had multiple discussions, me and John, about this. Is don't be something you're not. Don't be something you're not. If you're on the internet playing G.I. Joe and you're not G.I. Joe, understand that people are going to see that, and they're going to know what you're doing, right or wrong.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, as long as you're not being a poser of like, you know what, I really just want to play G.I. Joe. But you know, you're like, that's what I'm doing, and I don't care what you think. And they're like, well, play G.I. Joe to the glory of God, man. Have fun with it. But don't be the tool that's, you know, LARP it.
He's trying to be politically correct.
No,
right
I'm not. I'm just saying more power to that guy.
I got
There's
you.
the Milsim
crew. Yeah.
And they're having a great time. Yeah. And that's a game that has some real world application. That's a good, beneficial game. Yeah. And I like that, but that's what they're doing, and I'm not gonna shame them out of it because there's a lot worse things you could do with your time.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, you could be on a beanbag, watching nonstop, whatever, eating Cheetos, you know? And
there's nothing wrong with Cheetos. Right?
I just say, they're out, they're moving, they're playing war games.
I love Cheetos.
Anyway, so I don't even want to rain on that parade, but don't be a poser, right?
There we go. So he calls it a poser, right? I just call it what it is. It's someone you're pretending to be something you're not at the end of the day. When you're on Instagram and you're on social media, be yourself, be who you are, stay in your lane. I stay in my lane, he stays in his lane. We all do, you know. He knows, and you know, I know when it comes to certain aspects of certain things, I know that I don't know. I'm okay with saying that. You know, 20 years in the game, and I know that my experience in NVGs and night vision is very, very limited. Very limited.
It's like a superpower, bro.
Yeah.
It's super cool. You want to do some night vision stuff?
Yeah.
I got some goodies.
So
we'll play.
He understands that when it comes to the fitness realm, his knowledge is right there, very limited. So what does he do? What do I do? If I had an NVG issue, I'm gonna come to him. And I'm gonna ask him, and I'm gonna ask him questions. So that's why he came to me. He's like, "Oh, I want to work on my deadlift, or I want to work on this, I want to work on that." So everybody has their pro, you know, their things that they're good at, and then you gotta just know. You gotta know when it's time to not say, "Hey, by the way, I'm a badass at this," but I'm really not. I just play it. You know, it's a big difference. I want to thank John for coming out, as well as Evan for sharing the day with me. As a matter of fact, I know you guys don't know this, but this is one day of 3 days of my show on their network. Okay, and it's Warrior Poet Society Network. It's an actual channel, guys, and I want to say something that is really exciting for me, and I know it's very exciting for them. They are killing it over there. Okay, we're having 3 days, I guess a day in the life with me and John and Evan. And if you want to see those 3 days, just like this day, a full 3 days of our shenanigans.
It's mini series. It's behind the scenes. It's real world tactical. I mean. Yeah,
it's shenanigans.
It's all the stuff. It's
a little bit of everything.
I want to say something funny here, but it's actually completely brutal, and I'm thoroughly exhausted.
Yeah, but we get to answer questions and kind of walk around.
Yeah. So where can they find? Where can they find?
You
this,
can download it on iOS, Android. We're gonna have a whole suite of apps launching in about a week.
Apple TV, Amazon Fire, all the streaming services available there. Tony has his own show. And it's lit. I mean, we rolled out the red carpet, so the filming quality is all. We do YouTube stuff. This is not YouTube stuff. This is a show. And here's your host.
And my host.
Crushed it, man.
Yeah.
We've been filming. We're filming like madmen.
Yeah, but, we're trying out here to give you a great little adventure with us. That's the bottom line. Just to see, so you get an in-depth view of who I am and what my company represents, and I share it with these two great guys. So stay tuned. Got a lot more coming. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, go check their channel out. Where's your channel on
Links
YouTube?
In the bio.
Warrior Poet Society on their channel, because it's, guys, so you understand, you have John Lovell and then you have Evan. I don't even know your last name.
Temple.
Evan Temple, but their brand and their company is called Warrior Poet Society. Okay, give them a little quick background on this outro of where they can find you, your website and all that stuff.
Type in Warrior Poet in the internet and you will find us.
And you will find them. They're big time, guys. They're
no,
big
we're not
time.
Big time. It's
big
just,
time. They're on the top of the Google.
Now I feel like,
you know, you just search them and they're there.
Now I feel
they're
like a tool.
all about the SEO. They're the SEO. You should have SEO written right here on his chest right here.
We want to show you a look at what this guy can do for regular people like me and then pros like John.
So if you're interested in some more content, guys, go over to their channel. Download the stuff, check out the 3 days. On to the next one.